It's time for the whole 9 yards. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ralph Ventre. I'm ready to dive into Week 5 of the Northeast Conference schedule. 4 NEC teams in action this week. All 4 are taking on non-conference opponents. I'll talk about the vital information on each of those matchups in the opening drive. Let's get right to work. First up, it's the defending NEC champion Central Connecticut looking to post a second straight win over a Patriot League team. The Blue Devils went into the Bronx and posted a 24-13 win over Fordham last week. This Saturday, they head to Easton, Pennsylvania to do battle with an 0-4 Lafayette Leopards team. Lafayette has already suffered a loss at the hands of an NEC team, falling at Sacred Heart back in Week 1. Although CCSU had to wait until Week 4 to score its first W of the season, there have been plenty of positive signs for the Blue Devils during the season's first month. Quarterback Jacob Dogala has taken care of the football. He's been picked off only once in the season's first 4 games. In the Week 4 win over Fordham, he hooked up with Arthur Gilmore on 2 touchdown strikes. Meanwhile, for the second week in a row, CCSU scored a non-offensive touchdown. Defensive back Grant Ebay with a pick 6 midway through the third quarter at Fordham. The week before, it was Tajik Bagley taking a punt 82 yards to the house against Columbia. CCSU will look for more ways to score this Saturday night at Lafayette on the Patriot League Network. Next up, it's the lone remaining undefeated team in the NEC. That would be 3-0 Sacred Heart. Mark Nofri's Pioneers are heading up to Ivy League member Cornell, looking to make it 4 straight victories. This will be the 3rd all-time meeting between Cornell and Sacred Heart. The Pioneers won the first 2, triumphing in 2015 and again in 2016. Now, so far this season, nearly everything has gone right for Sacred Heart. After a 2-0 season start against the Patriot League, the Pioneers opened their Northeast Conference schedule with a resounding victory over Wagner in Week 4. Sacred Heart has allowed only 3 offensive touchdowns in 3 games this season. Quarterback Kevin Duke has been producing on the ground and through the air, responsible for 5 touchdowns in the victory over Wagner. And right now, it's a good time to be a Sacred Heart Pioneer. They'll look to continue the success up at Cornell. You can watch that one on ESPN+. The third game on the Week 5 slate is a renewal of the Outer Bridge rivalry. Wagner will make the trip from Staten Island down to the Jersey Shore to take on Big South member Monmouth. You'll see a number of top-tier playmakers in this old-school matchup. Of course, Monmouth has the highly touted receiver Reggie White. Wagner has some stars on both sides of the ball. Running back Ryan Folse went for 161 yards on the ground against Sacred Heart last week. Folse now ranks 2nd overall in the FCS with 660 rush yards. Flip it over to the defensive side, where Cameron Gill has been flying around the field all season. He's got 4.5 sacks, 8.5 tackles for a loss. Gill has multiple tackles for a loss in each of Wagner's 4 games, including 2 TFL at Syracuse and another 2 at Montana State. Despite the presence of some premier playmakers, Wagner has only managed to pick up 1 win thus far. Head coach Jason Hotaling says the Seahawks need to put it all together.
right now we just from a team standpoint got to put it all together and get everything clicking and take advantage of some of the individual talents that we do have. And I think the team understands that, and everybody knows where we got to go.
Closing out the opening drive, a game you can watch live right here on NEC Front Row. St. Francis returns home following back-to-back heartbreaking losses to CAA opponents. After losing in the final seconds against Richmond in Week 3, the Red Flash found themselves tied with Albany in the fourth quarter in Week 4. They fell 35-28, the third one-score fourth quarter loss for the Red Flash this season. Head coach Chris Valerio admits it hasn't been easy experiencing 3 heartbreaking losses in the season's first 4 weeks, but he's optimistic about his team moving forward.
I think everybody's frustrated. When you're playing so hard, you're playing physical, you're doing everything, you're laying it on the line. Sometimes things don't go your way, and everybody's frustrated. But we have to be able to take that frustration. We can't scream about it, yell about it. We have to go back to work. We have to look at ourselves. We have to look in the mirror and see what we can do better. And that's what we're trying to do. And I think the team's up for the challenge. Like I said, we had a great team meeting on Sunday. Told the guys you can't let this linger. We can't be hung over. We have to move forward. And I think the overall morale after that meeting was a little better. But we have to get back out here today, get to practicing, and get the blood flowing again. And I think we'll be okay.
Valerio really has to love the play of his 2 top wide receivers. Cyrus Holder and Cameron Lewis rank 2nd and 3rd on the NEC receiving yards leaderboard. Each of the 2 men have at least 5 catches in every game thus far this season. They've developed a nice rapport with quarterback Bear Fenimore. Let's see if they can keep it going. Week 5 at home against Division II member West Virginia Wesleyan. Let's check in on the NEC stock market. I'll tell you whose value is on the way up. Last week, we featured Bryant redshirt freshman receiver Shelton McNeil in this segment. And as it turns out, McNeil isn't the only rookie receiver making noise in the Northeast Conference. Sacred Heart received some big-time contributions from a first-year player in the 41-14 victory over Wagner. That was when New Jersey product Nassim Brantley, making his first collegiate appearance, caught 3 passes for 118 yards and 2 scores. Brantley caught a 45-yard touchdown pass in the first half, added a 62-yarder in the second half. He's only one of 9 NEC players to catch at least 2 touchdown passes in the same game this season. Showed tremendous breakaway ability in the Week 4 win on the road. He's got a veteran quarterback to bring him along. He's got a veteran receiver to look up to in Andrew O'Neal. And Nassim Brantley seems to have plenty of ability as well. His stock is on the way up. I'm taking my Twitter time out. This week's featured tweet says, "Aloha" from Narissa Martin, who recently made the trip to Hawaii to watch the Dukes battle the FBS member Rainbow Warriors. Martin is a self-described Duquesne football fanatic. She's a top supporter of receiver Nahari Crawford. And as you can see, although the Dukes came up short on the football field, there's still plenty to smile about. A valiant effort by Duquesne, jumping out to a 14-0 lead early on. Nahari Crawford catching the game's first touchdown. He's certainly given his fans plenty to smile about this season. 6 touchdown catches already, 536 receiving yards. That's 4th overall on the FCS leaderboard. Nahari Crawford and the Dukes returning from a fruitful trip to Hawaii. They'll be one of 3 NEC teams who enjoy a bye this week. Then it's back to action in week 6. Blue 42, Omaha. It's time for the NEC Audible. This week's soundbite comes from Fairfield, Connecticut, where head coach Mark Nofri sat down to talk about his 3-0 Pioneers.
We're doing it with a lot of different faces, and we talked about early in the season, what's it going to come down to? And it's going to come down to the guys in the spring and the summer that we're looking to step up and take the next step, and they are. They're doing that. And, again, it's only game 3. We still have 8 more to go, so, we need to put it in perspective that anything could happen at any point in time, but we need to continue to build off the momentum and the success that we've had the first 3 games of the year.
That's amazing, bro. What has me in a state of amazement this week? Well, it's been the season-long block party at CCSU. Central Connecticut special teams came up big in the road win over Fordham. A blocked punt late in the first half allowed the Blue Devils to tack on a touchdown before the break. It's becoming sort of a habit for Central Connecticut these days. Their 3rd blocked punt this season. They also blocked a field goal in the opener at MAC member Ball State. That's a total of 4 blocked kicks for the Blue Devils. CCSU's 4 blocked kicks are tied for 2nd in the FCS. The team they're tied with, NEC rival Bryant. Bryant and CCSU blocking kicks, making plays, and stats amazing. Just one more note to drop before the end of our show. We'll do it in the Did You Know? Did you know 3 Northeast Conference student athletes have been named national semifinalists for the prestigious William Campbell Trophy? The Campbell Trophy, which is presented annually by the National Football Foundation, is known as the Academic Heisman. There were 40 FCS players on the list of semifinalists. Amongst those, St. Francis offensive lineman Mike Ames, Robert Morris linebacker Adam Wallet, and Sacred Heart receiver Andrew O'Neal. All 3 men received all NEC honors last season. They're off to good starts again this season, both in the classroom and on the football field, and they're up for one of the most prestigious honors in the game of football. So although it's a light schedule, we still gave you a full show here on NEC Front Row. We tackled all 4 non-conference matchups and gave you the whole 9 yards on week 5. Go forth and enjoy some football. For NEC Front Row, I'm Ralph Ventre. Until next time.